It's connecting. And you're gonna see, if you go to setup, you're gonna see when they start to go online. You're basically live now.
All right. So now this says leave site. If I leave and go, I don't need to go to any other place then, huh?
You're live, so yes.
All right.
Shut down Zoom now.
Yep. We had a little technical difficulty, and I'm working on it right now. I'm going to be with you in just a second. All right, see if you can hear me now. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. All right, good. Yeah, good night from London. Hi, Tanapat. Yeah, you check it out later. I'm going to get through this. So give me a second. I'm going to pull up my presentation. I got some stuff to share here. I'm on, my video's working. I'm hearing from you guys that my video's working, my audio's working. So why don't we get started? It's 8 in Bangkok, Thailand, and I had a great morning. In fact, today we launched the podcast interview I did with Neil Patel, and Neil is such a amazing rock star marketing guy. You should check it out on myworstinvestment.com. Just put it up there, but I was just re-listening to it. And truthfully, when I record podcasts, I don't often listen to them a second or third time, but this one I've been listening to a lot. So yeah. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to bring up my presentation and I'm going to, hold on, let's do that. I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. So let's do that. Sharing the screen. All right. So let's do some careers in finance. Close that. Hold on. Seems like my computer just doesn't want to work with me today. All right. So if you've got any questions about finance, careers in finance, any other topic, just put them in the chat right now. I'll be answering any of the questions. I also was listening to a great podcast today by a guy named Nick Bradley, who's been on my show, and a great guy. And he was interviewing someone about valuation, and it was excellent. So, let's talk a little bit about revenue. I want to just talk a little bit about revenue. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. We'll answer some questions, and then I'll show you how to become a valuation expert. So, first thing is, I just finished this course. I just finished writing this course. It's 36 lessons, as you see. It's called Finance Made Ridiculously Simple. And I must say, this is one of my favorite courses to produce. And so I thought I would take a section of this course and just talk a little bit about it so you can understand what's in the course. So in this section, I'm going to talk to you about understand what revenue is, learn what factors drive revenue, explore some important questions related to each revenue driver, and then learn about marketing from the masters. So business starts with revenue. Revenue minus all the costs of doing business equals profit. Done. In fact, you could say that revenue really is the ultimate key in valuation. Now, you can look at revenue as revenue equals price times quantity. And here's an example that I use in the class called the Magic Powder Company. And the Magic Powder Company is actually, well, I'll give it away. The magic powder is the magic powder that I'm drinking right now. Coffee. And ultimately, business comes down to price times quantity. Here you can see a company that sells a 1 kilo bag of magic powder, and they sell it at $50. And if they sell 3,650 of them, well, there's their revenue right there. Now, let's talk about revenue growth. You can either increase price or quantity to increase revenue. So here we can see that the revenue growth of the company goes from 182,500 all the way up to 4,991,173. The idea being that you're going to increase either quantity or price, or most likely both. And that's what's going to drive revenue. Now, I want you to think about improving the questions that you ask. Here's a question that was asked. He says, and here's something that we learn about questions. An expert knows all the answers if you ask the right questions. That's by Levi Strauss, the jeans that I'm wearing. Can you imagine that? That's crazy. That was a long time ago. All right. What are some good questions to ask when you want to learn something? Well, what's your objective? Right? We may come to a situation and say, what's our objective? What's the main issue or problem? I love this one. You know, what is the issue? Who should we be serving? What do the people we serve value? Also, what's the obstacle here? What would help us succeed? What's worked in the past? What's the trade-off? Like the win or lose? Because there's going to be something you make a tough decision. What are our resources? Now, let's talk about marketing, because marketing is so critical. Philip Kotler is one of the best in the world on marketing. And he says marketing is about identifying and meeting human needs and human and social needs. Marketing is meeting them profitably. Also, he wrote this book, which I've got on my shelf behind me. Marketing management is the art and science of choosing target markets. Marketing involves getting, keeping, and growing customers by creating, delivering, and communicating superior value. Why is that important? Well, value is what we talk about in the valuation masterclass. We're measuring value. And I often say that, finance doesn't really add value. It is marketing. It is the products. It is the service. Now let's look at what Peter Drucker says. The aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous, meaning you don't need it. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits them and sells itself. Oh man, that's so, beautiful, but it's also so hard to do. Now, when I look at revenue, I think that there's these drivers, and let's just look at the foundation of revenue. There's marketing, product, branding. So what are some good questions related to products and services? So what is a differentiating element for the product? Or what are the growth prospects for the existing products? So what new products is the company developing and launching? Can a product be easily disrupted? That's a really important one. When I started out in the business, that wasn't a question that we asked. Can a product be easily imitated? Now, what are some good questions related to marketing? Well, what's the market share and the trend? What are the customers' needs and how are they being met? What's the company's product positioning in the market? What are the top competitors and the biggest threats? And what is the marketing budget, which is the critical constraint in a lot of cases? So what are some good questions related to branding? Well, does the brand clearly communicate the value? Think about Apple, Disney, Facebook. These brands definitely communicate the value. All right, let's talk about the foundation of revenue and move beyond the foundation to the next level, which is the selling process, delivery, and after-sales service. So what are some good questions that you would ask relative to sales? Well, questions related to sales, like how many people are on the sales team? Who's running the team? What's the sales growth plan? What are the bottlenecks in the sales process? Is the revenue scalable? What are the constraints to sales growth? What's holding it back? Now, what's some good questions related to delivery? Well, I think delivery's become more and more interesting these days because we do have a situation where everything's having to be delivered by, motorcycle in a lot of cases. And so what we're seeing in Thailand, at least, there is a lot of, let me just move one thing here. Not really sure where my microphone's coming from, so I'm going to just do something here. Flip it around in hopes that that helps a little bit. So, Alex, does that help the sound? Not sure if it does, but let's see. All right, so now I'm just going to check one other thing. Yep. Okay. So we're going to continue on here, and let's talk about delivery. So our product being delivered on time, our product's in good condition. What's the customer's experience with delivery? So those are the questions that are critical, and I think even more so today. And I would say, one of my businesses is my business Coffee Works, and we're really trying to figure out a way that we can make it so that our delivery experience is better. So, what are some questions related to after-sales service? Well, is there good follow-up with existing customers? Are problems being promptly addressed? What's the customer retention? Is there a clear upsell to suit the needs of the existing customers? Is there understanding of how after-sales service can improve brand loyalty? Now let's look at, in the class, I raised a bunch of global data, and I've been using this global data for a while. It's 24 years of financial data from 840 companies in 1995 to 14,000 companies in 2019. And this is the foundation for the valuation masterclass and everything that I teach in finance made ridiculously simple. From this, we can calculate the revenue growth. And here it is. The dots show revenue growth each year of all large listed companies in the world. And what that shows is, on average, it's about roughly 6% growth. Now, that's fascinating because when you look at long-term big companies doing well, you would think that it's higher. Most people would guess that it's higher, but reality is that it's only 6%. So, of course, you may or may not know the rule of 72. So let's just review that. Divide 72 by the annual growth rate, in this case 6%, to estimate how many years it will take to double. And in this case, it's going to be 12 years to double if it's growing at 6%. Now, if it was at 12%, it would grow at 6 years. It would double in 6 years. And if it was growing at 24%, it would double in about 3 years, and 36% 2 years. So just a little tip to use. All right, so what have you learned? Well, business starts with revenue. There's two ways to increase it. It's either increasing the selling price or increasing the quantity. The drivers of revenue are selling process, delivery, after-sales service, marketing, product, branding. And marketing is choosing the target market, getting, growing, and keeping customers by creating and delivering and communicating about the product. All right, so I just want to jump. I think right now I'm going to jump into the Q&A. So if we've got any questions, make sure you've typed them in. And you can ask questions about careers, but you can also ask questions about the presentation that I just did. So one of the questions I got was, how do I know which job is best for me? Like investment banker, sell-side analyst, fund manager, private equity analyst. And what I would say to that is it really depends on your personality. And from my perspective, you've got to try, one of the things that I wasn't able to do when I started in my career was I wasn't really able to be like an intern. And nowadays I hire many interns and they get to work on different things to learn about what they like to do. And I try to teach people to look at the tasks that you like to do, such as, do you like writing? Do you like working in Excel? Do you like talking to people? These tasks are the things that ultimately determine what it is you like to do and therefore where you may do it best. The point is that there's some jobs, I'm going to talk right now about sell-side analysts, that requires you to be pretty much vocal and presenting and pitching all the time. And that's a little bit different personality style than some of the others. Now, another one says, what can I do to stand out as a new grad? Well, I would say I was just in a car yesterday talking to someone, and I said to them, you know what? New grads today are not, almost many of them that I experienced through my internships are not that different the way I was 30 years ago. I could beat them. And that's really an interesting point. Everybody on their resume says, oh yeah, I know how to use Excel. Oh, I know how to do some coding. Oh, I know how to do this or whatever. But what you find is that after meeting and working with many interns, and we're not talking about interns that, are not good quality. We're talking about good quality interns. The fact is many of these interns do not have skills in these areas. So how do you stand out? You decide what is an area you want to build a skill in and build a real skill in it, whether that's Excel, whether that's Python, whether that's writing, whether that's valuation, like the Valuation Masterclass. But that is how you can stand out, and you can do it easily. Now, what are 3 personal traits that help you become the #1 analyst? Number 1, I wake up very early, and I arrived at my office very early. In fact, this morning, I started working at 5 a.m. And I would say the second thing is that I get good sleep. And that's critical, because you can't function all day with a mind that's really tired. And I'd say the other thing that helped me to be successful was every single morning I wrote down the top 3 to 5 things that I wanted to accomplish that day, and that kept me focused. All right. Now I'm going to just I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment to see if we've got any questions or comments. So hold on one second. All right. Yep, there's Augustine. Good to see you. Yep. Yes, you'll be able to get the slides. We'll have those for you. We'll send them to you after. Right? Yeah. So, Alex is going to share the information episode that I was talking about. So make sure to look at that. Now, just before, I'm going to move into the Valuation Masterclass, and I'll talk with you a little bit about how you could build a competitive advantage there. And before I do that, I'm just going to show you that we have an offer today, and see if I can get that offer up in there. And let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, the offer's in there. You can see it, what it is. But let me just talk a little bit. But Alex has posted the Neil Patel interview, and it was just awesome. I mean, I learned a lot. He's an amazing guy, and he's such a giver. That's what's really amazing about him from my perspective. So let's go back. I'm gonna share my screen and just talk a bit about the offer that we have today and how you can keep learning. So Augustine says, what are the greatest challenges that one would face in his early stages of his career as an analyst? I think the biggest challenge from my perspective is the fact that many analysts just get caught up in a lot of wasted time. And really what matters is that you get to know the company and then you get to know the story. So my challenge to any new analyst is do not go to your office ever. That's my challenge to you, Augustine, and for others watching. Never, ever go to your office. Now, you may say, well, Andrew, if I don't go to my office, my boss is going to be upset. Well, you know, you have to talk to your boss and work that out. But the point that I'm trying to say is that the best ideas, you know, ultimately as an analyst, you've got to find the story, the thesis. What is it about this company that's going to cause the share price to rocket up? And you need to find that idea, and that idea is not in an Excel spreadsheet. So my first challenge to you is get out of Excel, get out of the office, go talk to people to find the good ideas. Does that help you, Augustine? I love your question. It's a great question. Of course, boss doesn't like it because boss wants everybody there. But, you know, you don't make great analysts when they're all sitting around at their desks. All right, so let's continue on. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. Keep your questions coming. I'm gonna share screen for a bit, and then I'll come back to questions. So any questions, feel free to ask them. All right. So let's go back to the presentation, and I'm going to talk to you about how to become a value expert. And I got to switch this off, so hold on one second. All right, so how to become a valuation expert. Well, in the valuation masterclass, you know, what I learned to answer some of the question about what makes you a great analyst, you've got to have practice experience, you've got to have confidence, you've got to be efficient, and you've got to make an impact. And that's what I built into the valuation masterclass. Now let's look at the valuation masterclass. Now we've got more than 1,500 students from 31 different countries. And I call it the boot camp for valuation. The Valuation Masterclass is the complete, proven, step-by-step course to guide you from novice to valuation expert. So start your journey to become a valuation master. How do you do it? Well, Module 1 is focused on building a strong foundation of the basics. Later modules bring you to mastery. And what do I mean by getting practical experience? Well, by Module 5, you'll have valued 20 companies and reviewed about another 10. That's real, practical experience. These companies are from different sectors, countries, and situations. And you'll learn how to analyze companies and write reports like a professional analyst. That's the key. What do I mean by confidence? Well, you're going to gain confidence from your practical experience in the Valuation Masterclass. Others will also feel confident when they see the depth of your valuation knowledge. Efficiency. In the Valuation Masterclass, you'll learn to value companies using my value model. It's my model, a highly efficient valuation framework that helped me become a #1 analyst. When you're more efficient, you're more competitive. And then impact. To become a certified valuation expert is hard. It's 5 modules, 200 hours of learning. That's why we call it the boot camp for valuation. And as you see, one of my students said, thanks for boosting my confidence, which is awesome because that's what we're trying to do. After passing Module 5, I'll do whatever I can. Wait a minute. Huh? Alex, is that a mistake? Huh? What is that? Let me read that bullet point again. After passing Module, whatever I can to help you get your dream job. Why? Because if you pass Module 5, I know that you now have what it takes. So I'll get on the phone, whether that's all the way from Nigeria to Thailand to China to America, and call anybody to help you get a job. But you got to pass Module 5. So if you are inspired to become a valuation expert, then I have a special offer. But it applies if you're registered and it's only available today. So what is it? 25% off if you join today, the Valuation Masterclass Module 1. That's $200 value, and now it's only $149 for you. In addition, you're going to get a bonus. I'm going to give you my book, 9 Valuation Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. And also, I'm going to give you my book, How to Start Building Your Wealth Investing in the Stock Market. You will receive those right away through PDF. So we're talking about a value of $220, and you're getting it for $149. So use the coupon code that I put in there, as well as Alex put in there, and ask any questions that you may have. The good news is that it is completely risk-free. We will return your money 100%, no questions asked. We want you to be satisfied. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to go back to answer any questions you may have. Any questions out there, let me know. Let me know. All right. Good. So Alex has saved the material in there. If you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to log off. I have to apologize that I had a lot of technical difficulty today, and I'm actually crouching in the corner, and you can see one of my interns right there. Yeah, Jeff, also a Valuation Masterclass Module 1 student. Right. So I want to thank you all for attending and putting up with my bad sound and my bad video. You guys